Let me ask you something. Why do you feel that product design is something that you want to do? And how could anyone understand if it's the right career for them? Hi, my name is Julia, I'm a product designer and we talk about design things on this channel. And today I want to share with you the 6 most important personality traits that a product designer could have. An important note, we're not talking about skills here. There are a lot of hard and soft skills that a product designer might have. It depends on your specialization. Are you more of a researcher, or do you want to work with design systems or with the UI? All of these skills you can gain at any point in your career. I'm talking about traits. And you can also make progress with them, people change and they can change deliberately in a specific direction, but it has more to do with what type of person you are, what you like, and what environment is right for you. Now, I'm not a hiring manager and I can't tell if these are exactly the traits that they seek for a designer position. These are the things that I believe help me personally to be more successful in my job. And most of them just make sense. Okay, enough of disclaimers. Let's start this video. The trait number 1. You care about aesthetics. I know people who just don't care at all about the visual. This is not interesting to them, not inspiring, and not that important. All they care about is functionality, whether or not things are getting done. The only problem is that in product design, visuals are part of getting things done. Search for aesthetic usability effect, brand positioning, or UX loss. There is a lot of work that product designers do that is not visual. It is research, user research, UX architecture, and so on. But ultimately, you will create visual stuff, and most people will perceive your work visually. I also know that the majority of my colleagues enjoy things like architecture, art, and fashion. It just makes sense. So it would be a more enjoyable career path for you if you just care about aesthetics naturally. The trait number 2. You're able to take criticism. This one is actually one of the traits that are trainable to some extent. I know that this is something that is talked about a lot in the design community, but it's worth mentioning anyway. If you're not okay with being criticized often, or you don't want to work on that, chances are product design is not for you. Receiving feedback is a huge thing in design. Your day-to-day work kind of revolves around it. You get it from your product manager, from developers, from other designers, and of course from users. I won't lie, I was totally cool with it from day one of my career journey. I wasn't. I never took it too personally, but it still felt uncomfortable and generally unpleasant, but I managed to change that. Let me give you 3 tips that I think will be helpful to overcome these feelings. The tip number 1. Just take your time. I promise you, you will become more desensitized towards criticism. Desensitized. The more you hear it about your work, the more you hear people giving feedback to each other, it will become more normal. The tip number 2. Detach yourself from your work. It's so easy to fall in love with your solution that you start to feel really attached to it. And it's understandable, it's a fruit of your labor and of your reasoning, but that's not you. And that's not you who people are criticizing, it's the work. So enter the observation mode, make notes, and don't become defensive. The third and the most powerful thing in my opinion, start to look for feedback. I assume that the problem people might have with taking criticism may lie in how people frame it for themselves. Maybe not even on the intellectual, but on the emotional level. It might feel like someone is attacking you. So you can try and change that dynamic here. Instead of feeling like criticism is something that is forced on you, start asking for it. Come to your colleague and be like, hey, I did this thing here, do you have time to take a look at it? I would really appreciate that. Now this person is not attacking you by giving feedback, they're doing you a favor. They bring you value by taking their time for this feedback session to help you with your work essentially. And next time they might ask the same from you, so there's a valuable exchange and collaboration between you. The trait number 3, you are detail-oriented. I feel like I haven't seen a single designer in my career who would see a wrong border radii on a recently developed button and be like, that's fine, good enough. Good design consists of these little elements, from consistent UI, paying attention to accessibility, and conducting rigorous research. Of course, another side of the coin is that you will be constantly brought back to earth by a ton of different constraints, time, resources, and even your mental capacity. But that's okay, Be a perfectionist learning to live in the real world. The trait number 4. You have a big picture mindset. This might sound like a contradiction to the previous trait, but it's not. First of all, any product we create is used in a certain context. Google Maps is used nothing like Tinder. You should be able to zoom out sometimes and tailor your design so that it be the most viable version in this specific context. Secondly, sometimes the processes that we guide our users through are just really complicated. Imagine almost any KYC process, for example. And it's of that processes that our job is the most needed to make it easier for the user. So even while you're working on a specific screen, you should keep in mind the whole flow and how all of its parts will work together. The trait number 5. You love to learn. It's such a beaten theme, but tech really is a demanding field. It's growing and new trends and tools emerge all the time. I myself learn something quite often. I'm studying data analysis at the moment to brush up my research skill, for example. I don't know, I just really like to make a cup of coffee, take my iPad and laptop, sit somewhere cozy at home or in a cafe, and just dive into something that I don't know yet. I guess the key takeout is just to romanticize your life as much as possible. It would just make your life easier if you love to learn in the first place, if you're curious, if you get excited to do that rather than feel pressured. The trait number 6. You're interested in people. This one might be the most important. If you've Googled product design for at least 5 seconds, you read something about human-centered design. The job of a product designer is to solve someone's problem. To be able to solve it, you need to be interested in who this person is, how they use your product, and in what context they do that. You need to be able to relate to a person you've never met, fit into the shoes of possibly thousands of different people. To do that successfully, you have to naturally be interested in other people and their lives. That's all for today, folks. If you found this video interesting or useful, click the like and subscribe buttons. So tell me in the comments, did you get 6 out of 6 in the UX designer personality traits? Even if not, but you still want to dive deeper into product design, check out this video about the future of design systems. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!